Hey everyone, I'm here with your weekly update. We are having a little bit of an off week this week because of our IT installation, but the greatest news is we're done. So I really wanted to come at you with a video to kind of tie some of the changes together and remind you of why we're doing this. You'll notice, I'm sure you have so far, that all of our desktops look the same, and they really can't be customized anymore. The reason for this is NVA, when they send out equipment to a practice, they do that with the purpose of wanting to help you manage that equipment. So they have an IT department that operates 24/7 and gives support. So when you call in, you really just have to tell them the location of the computer within the practice that you have, or the name, which I'll get to in a minute, and they know all of the equipment because they use the same equipment. They use the same printers in every practice. They use the same computers in every practice, so they can quickly fix it and address issues without it being such a burden for you to have to further describe what's going on. They can also get remote access to those things, which is absolutely incredible for us. And again, another step that you don't have to take whenever you're having a problem. So we have scanners, computers, printers that are all uniform throughout the practice. Back to the desktop thing. I wanted to mention that you'll notice that every desktop has a plain black background and has the same icons. They basically all look the same. This is because on our network now, we share desktops. This is much more efficient than what we were doing before. So that means if you go to a scanner, for example, and you scan a document in, that document is going to go to a scans folder, and it's accessible from any computer in the building. So you can scan your document, and then you can go to a completely different segment of the practice and access that. Let's talk about getting remote help real quick. Every computer has a unique name, and we don't want to change this name. So, for example, I'm sitting at a computer right now that is called Manager 6. If I were going to be calling the 800 number, or the IT help desk, which is what we'll refer to it as now, to tell them that I'm having a problem, I just have to look down at the bottom corner of the monitor that I'm looking at, and I'm going to see a number like Manager 6 or Hospital Front Desk 1 or wherever, and I'll just tell them I'm calling from Lafayette Vet Care, and this is the computer number, and they can take it from there. You shouldn't have to describe any other issue that you're having. We will make sure that that information is accessible to you in all ways. The manager on call will primarily have it, as well as any passwords that we need, and they should be able to help you and serve in that area, but we'll also put it in Q&A. Back to the scans folder. We have to make sure that because we're sharing these desktops and we're sharing a scans folder, especially, that you don't add anything in these areas. The beauty of it being uniform is that we can access everything from the same, or in the same way from different areas. But if you go and try and customize something for yourself in a folder or on the desktop, everybody else is going to have that same customization. So I want you really to try to leave things the way that they are now. And if you find that's not working for you, please discuss it before you go and make that change. As an example, in the scans folder, because that's shared everywhere, the objective is to scan the documents that you need, and then you go into the scans folder to find them and attach them, whether you're attaching them to an email or into a record. But once you're done making that attachment and that document digitally has made it to where you want it to go, you have to go back in the scans folder and delete it. That's a critical step. If not, we're going to empty it out periodically, probably daily, and your things will be lost if you haven't attached them where they actually belong. I really don't want to have the responsibility of going to delete your forms, so make sure that you're doing that on your own. Also, we're used to having a staff data drive, and as managers know, we had a separate managers drive as well. These have been now consolidated and they're called shared documents. This is another folder that's accessible from every desktop. So you click on shared documents and then it should have the same look and feel as the data drive that you were used to before. So another word to the wise here. When we were moving things over, our data drive had gotten so big because it's so irresponsibly managed that it actually took hours to make a copy of it and move it. I'm really not very proud of that. So I would like us to make a conscious effort to manage this better, just like the scans folder. If you're really trying to save something and it's important to be saved, save it. But if you have attached it into AVImark and you're saving it on a drive, that's not what it's meant for. Once it makes it into AVImark, that's where it lives now, and you can delete it off of the staff drive. That staff drive is really just for community documents that we want to share with each other that don't belong in AVImark, or for protocols and SOPs and that kind of thing. So don't store things separately. I've also noticed a trend of us having personal folders in there. Well, there's really no use for that because everything that we do is for a client or a patient, or for a community as our team members are. So you really shouldn't have to have an individual folder of like your things that you've created. If you've created something and it's for work, everybody needs to know about it. So you need to label it separately. Please work with your managers on that if you're unsure of how to respond to that or how to edit yourself there. The last thing that I wanted to mention was about the Google Chrome icon. Just like anything else that's accessible from every computer, and we have these uniform desktops, so are the Google Chrome icons. So when you make a change on one computer, like maybe bookmarking a page or saving passwords and things like that, those things are going to carry over unless you had your own unique ID, which you don't. So you have to make sure that if you bookmark something that it's relevant to what we're doing. So don't bookmark your favorite websites that aren't work relevant. You don't belong on that anyways, but we have to really be careful with our bookmarks. As an example, this is how out of hand it is. Yesterday we were trying to set things up appropriately to make it easy for you, and within minutes we were seeing things added, things changed, and so on. We're setting them up for exactly what you need. What's bookmarked right now and what's set to automatically log you in is the Lafayette Vets Team Gmail account, where you manage any kind of community Google Sheets, like for task lists and so on. Those are there and already logged in. We have bookmarks for AG's cremation services. We have bookmarks for Purina feeding guides, which is now a website instead of a separate software. All those things are already bookmarked. So I'm going to ask you to stop bookmarking websites at this time so that we can keep the list concise and easy to manage. And if you find there's something that you visit frequently, or you know you're going to visit frequently, and you think that it belongs as a bookmark, please let the managers add that for you to avoid any duplication. There were already like about 6 instances of humanity being duplicated, as well as some other things. So this is all in just 24 hours. So I want to make sure that you guys manage that a little bit more carefully. And so I'd like for you to utilize your department managers to make sure that what you're asking for falls in line and isn't already done. The final thing that I just posted about in Slack a moment ago is the instant messaging system. If you've so far missed this, we don't have side notes anymore. What we have instead is an instant messenger. It looks like a little chat box, like a little talk bubble or speech bubble, whatever they're called. So it's like yellow with a little tail and a little person. So that's what you would click to expand. Every computer is named there and named in a certain way. Do not change the names. Don't do it. We need those named appropriately so that, again, our NBA IT help desk can find where you're located and know what piece of equipment that they've accounted for. So if there's something going wrong and you've disrupted the name, then that's not going to work out. So please don't change the names. However, when you open it and you see the list of names that we've named appropriately, you can send messages individually, and we've also just set up groups. So just know that the leading feature, why we're so excited to have this instant messenger instead of the side notes, is with side notes, when you would send a message out, when you would kind of broadcast it to multiple locations, replies would come back individually to the sender instead of everybody being able to see. So if we said, hey, Beryl, you have a phone call, and we sent it to multiple locations, when Beryl replied, nobody else saw that she replied, so they felt a little helpless. I think asking everyone to help in that sense was leading to the real problem we were having, which was nobody was responding. So I'm hoping to see that get better now that you'll see a group's worth of responses. Don't get frustrated with that if it's disrupting your work. Just move on and know that that one disruption that you just dealt with probably made other people's jobs a lot easier in that moment, and that your turn for ease is going to soon come. So you can just move those things out to the side. Also, there's emojis in there, so just consider that a little bonus. Use those appropriately. I can't wait for your feedback on how these things are going. I also can't wait for you to share if something's not going well so that we can fix it and make it better for you. Don't rename anything. That's my closing message. Really important. And if you have questions and need help with anything, let me know. I Again, look forward to your feedback. Thanks for your patience this week. I know when computers don't work that's ultimately the most frustrating thing, but we're fixed, we're better, and I think that we really have gone from good to great in this aspect with the service that we're going to be able to provide. So I appreciate you tuning in and making that all happen. All right, y'all have a great rest of your week.